Well, let's move on to this past week, Barry. Let's go straight into some of the coronavirus updates this past week. And the first one coming out of France. Tell us all about it.
Yes, so we've been talking about what the various measures are around the world to try and get back into normal life, right? I mean, we have to do this strange transition from this crazy pandemic lockdown, trying to get back to normal life. And in that process, you obviously have to make sure that you're managing the spread and you're mitigating whatever risks you can. So a lot of countries are talking about masks, they're talking about contact tracing, etc., etc. And we saw an interesting thing come out of France this week. As France begins to ease their lockdown, what they've chatted about is that everyone using public transport, so subways and buses and train stations, etc., are going to be enforced to wear masks. So that's mandatory. And the way they're going to track this is by using artificial intelligence. So, Chad, what they're going to do is they're partnering with a French startup called Data Collab, I think it's called. And what they are doing is they are taking the existing CCTV cameras and installing chips in them that run AI models to then scan those public stations and those subway stations and buses and whatnot and try and figure out how many of the people are wearing masks. Then they're going to report that data back to the French government and give them a sense of the French population and how are they complying with these new rules, which will then allow them to kind of isolate areas that perhaps they're not seeing as many masks and then put more policemen and whatnot there. So it's a really cool use of technology to try and figure out, are people complying with these new regulations? Is everybody wearing masks? And it's just another application for facial recognition technology and kind of computer vision technology that's going to try and figure out, if I look at this face, are they wearing a mask or aren't they?
Absolutely fascinating, and I suppose a great application at that. We've been talking about these CCTV systems and, the various governments around the world wanting to roll out this type of AI, but AI that was really looking at facial tracking and really looking to pin it down to an individual, whereas this, I suppose, is a wider movement that is so useful for a time like this, where you're trying to look at the compliance. My thing, though, is all the various designs of these masks. How is that AI going to track it? I suppose it's going to learn over time how to adjust.
Exactly, and that's why this is harder than it sounds like. It sounds pretty easy to be able to figure out, cool, that face has got a mask, that face doesn't. But like you say, as masks become a fashion statement and you start to see lots of different designs, lots of different fabrics, lots of colors, lots of patterns, etc., it becomes more and more difficult. So obviously it's going to be kind of a trial and error thing. We're going to see how things work. Yeah. But with enough time, with enough data, as they continue to collect information day after day after day, those models will get better and better and hopefully give you a really high accuracy to give you a sense as to who's wearing masks and who aren't.
Fascinating. Well, we'll have to certainly see how that experiment goes, and I'm sure Barry's going to be really excited to hear those results. Across the pond.